Matthew, you want to kick us off?
Have the preparations been this week?
Yeah, preparations have been great. We had a good chance to recover well from the game on Sunday, and we've had some really good sessions so far. So really looking forward to the game, and hopefully a really big crowd comes out and supports us. And I think the players are in a great position to perform.
Pretty deep bench you had last week. Will you change the starting lineup?
We're looking at a couple of different things. So, one of our options is to keep it as it was because we thought we started really well in the game. But we've got a couple of, potential moves up our sleeve as well. So, we'll see what we do. I wouldn't expect there to be huge changes, but we do have the capacity to bring in a couple of players if we need to.
You've been able to beat Victory this season. What needs to change?
We need to score more goals than them, basically. No. We think we've been pretty competitive in both of those matches. We feel like we had the better of the game all the way back in round one, but just got pipped by a really nice goal at the end in extra time. And then they probably shaded us in Melbourne, but we showed a lot of fight and were able to hang in there and take it all the way to extra time again as well. So they're an excellent defensive team, but we think we've got a lot of really good attacking threats. So I think that's the strengths of both sides, and hopefully we'll see that play out in a fantastic game on the weekend.
It's felt like watching the A-League women for a few years, it's always felt like there's a couple of teams that have got like an aura around them, like they're the teams that are going to be good this year. And this year, the two Melbourne teams, I mean on paper anyway, have been that. How have you managed to put your team in their own minds in that conversation instead of going in? Not that they do, but I'm sure in the past they've had like a bit of this is the game we're not expected to win. How have you managed to put them in that frame of mind? Yeah,
we've been talking all year about belief and confidence, and to be honest, I haven't really had to say anything to put them in that frame of mind. I think the proof's in the pudding. I think there's been 3 clear teams this year that have been head and shoulders above the rest, and we're one of those 3, so we're in that conversation. So I think the players' performance, the players' attitude, the way they go about their work, that gives them the confidence to know that they can compete with the 2 sides that finished ahead of us on the table.
How have they got to this point, aside from the results? Like when you look back at it, your team now being one of the best 3 teams, what would you put it down to, especially after last year?
Yeah, hard work. That's all that it's really come down to. So the players were really disappointed about the way the season went last year. They came back with a really strong mindset and a really strong attitude, determined to make sure that never happens again at this club. And right from day one, when we stepped on the pitch, they've just rolled up their sleeves and done the work. There's no secrets in life and in football. If you're prepared to put your head down and do the work, you'll get the rewards. And I'm glad they're getting the rewards because they definitely deserve it.
Can they play with a chip on their shoulder as an Adelaide? It hasn't been a successful club in the past, and they're breaking all this new ground. Like they're changing opinions of the club at the moment. Is that something that they're conscious of and need to continue?
I just think they're a proud bunch. So it's not so much about playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're excellent footballers. They deserve to be well supported. We deserve a really big crowd. We deserve to be playing at home. We deserve the spot on the ladder that they won. So when you're proud like that and you've got pride in your performance, I'm sure they'll come out and perform and do a really good job and show everyone that they belong. So I think it's more about that than having a chip on your shoulder.
I think from memory you were the first full-time coach in women's football. I presume that hasn't changed, but how much has that played a part in building to where you've been able to get to now?
Yeah, it's been great. Like, it didn't help me much last year, but it took a while to sort of integrate that in with the rest of the staff and how we're going to run things and operate things. But it's just meant that my focus has been able to be on football and family as well. That's been really important. I think the main thing that it's helped with is my balance off-field. Doing 2 jobs and being a head coach, you're really full-time anyway, even if you're not being paid a full-time wage or you're on a full-time, hourly allotment. So that's probably been the biggest thing from my point of view. It's just allowed me to go to that extra level of detail and just get that balance right between on-field and off-field, which has been great.
And how's your teaching background affected you day to day? How does that help you as a head coach? Because is a great grounding to have.
Oh, absolutely. I think it helps with communication. Really, teaching and coaching are very similar. It's all about building relationships. It's all about getting a clear and consistent message across and setting standards and making sure they're upheld. So, yeah, I loved my job for 20 years as a teacher, and I love what I'm doing right now as well.
In the men's game, we often talk about coaches in your position going to Europe, going to Asia, bigger and better things. We don't really talk about it as much in the women's game. I know it's hard, but just forget about the semi-final for a minute. Where do you want to end up as a coach? Do you have aspirations to go overseas, coach the Matildas, young Matildas? What do you want? Where do you want this coaching thing to take you?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and not something that I've necessarily really thought about. I've just always been someone that said yes to opportunities when they present, whether that's at Adelaide United or elsewhere. So I'm open to anything and everything, because if opportunities get presented to me, you know, I'll take them on because, like I said, I love what I do. So I want to stay involved in the game. I think coaching is the best blend of, you know, teaching and football, which is my two passions in my working life, and I've got a really supportive family as well. So, yeah, see wherever the winds take me.
How do you avoid a repeat of the second half last week where the ball was camped in your defence?
Yeah, I think last week's a bit of a different game, you know. It's an elimination final, so we know that there's a result on the back of that game. It's probably a little bit of, you know, nerves as well. It's only our second final ever, and we hadn't won one before. So I think now that we've ticked a few boxes, we're really confident in our style of play. We've tried to tweak a few things this week and make our focus and objective with and without the ball really clear. And I think if we can execute that, I think you'll see a much better performance.
You've been asked a lot about Chelsea and Erin. Erin was a large part of the shape out there, if that was the starting 11. Is one ahead of the other in terms of fitness?
Yeah, Erin's probably half a week or a week ahead of Chelsea. So just by virtue of the fact that she's just came back to full training earlier. So, yeah, they're both fit though, ready to go. They can both start if that's what we decide to do. So, yeah, it gives me a lot of headaches and a really, I think, difficult proposition for any opposition to try and stop all of our different attacking threats, because we've got a few.